Okay. Good morning. Sorry. Didn't make it. Reb Naftali, where are we starting?
First, thank you to Rennie for all that he did. It was really, really heroic.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on Memkas, Ahmed Bays, maybe, I don't know, 10 lines down. The first word is Kedarav Kizda.
Oh, like Tashima? Amar Uman?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's start from the Tashima. Kedarav Chisda is the answer to the last. Let's start from the Tashima Amar Uman. Okay. Thank Hashem. What page are we on? We're on page 48b. And it's
No, we're on 48A.
48B? No, 40.
oh,
He didn't
48A.
hear yesterday's class then.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry. We didn't have it. It didn't broadcast yesterday.
So should I go back to it?
No.
No.
Go online?
And he can hear all 48A.
Yeah.
You've been on
Yeah,
later.
what happened was Dr. Stein made a class without anyone there.
No, Dr. Stein overslept and missed the first class. So when at 1 p.m., I gave half a daf 48A, which was uploaded to YouTube, so you can still.
Okay, Rennie, it's going in the book.
Okay. Then he was almost 9.5 hours sleep. I was so sleep deprived.
Okay.
We'll have a new book on Wednesday. The doctor slept in.
Okay. So where are you starting? 48B where?
Tashima. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines down.
All right. Tashima Amar Uman.
Yeah. Okay, we thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. Let's have a learning. We should have this English immediately. Okay. The yard site was already, right?
Yeah.
The yard site for the.
Yes.
Okay. When is the yard site of?
Sevi?
Yeah. Okay. Everyone should have a refuah shleima, and the hostages should come back safely. Everyone. Okay, so it goes like this. Tashima. Let me first tell you what's happening over here. We had a machlokes Abaya and Rava about hazmana milsa. Hazmana means if you designate something, but you don't use it yet, is it considered designated? Now, the basis of this was if someone weaves a garment for a corpse. Now, anything that's used for a corpse becomes usher for anyone else to use, to have any benefit. It's not prohibited for any other benefit. Abaya says once it's woven for the corpse, it's considered belonging to the corpse, and that's it. You can't use it for anything else. However, Rabba says no. Rabba says, "Azman alav milsa, you didn't do anything yet. You made it for him, but you didn't use it yet, so it's not counted." Anyway, we had a bunch of brises back and forth. The last brisa was that if someone makes a case, the casing of the tefillin, you can't use it for anything else. Okay, now you made it for you can't use it for anything else. That's a proof that hazmana milsa. You didn't even use it yet, and already you can't use it for anything else. It's a proof to Abai. It's a question on Rava. Now we have a question like this, exactly the opposite. Amar le'uman. If a person says to a craftsman, "Aseli tikshel sefer, inar tikshel tefillin," make me a pouch for a sefer Torah, make me a case for tefillin, until they're used. Before they're used, you're allowed to use it for other things. Even though what was it made for? Made for tefillin, it was made for a sefer Torah. Obviously, hazmana, designation, is lav milsa. Means it's nothing. You use it for other things. But if you did use it for holy things, also this would be a question on Abaya. It's a question on Abaya, right? Abaya says once you designate it, then it's too late. And Rava says that if designation is nothing, here we're saying designation is nothing. You can still use it for mundane things, just even after it's designated. So in order to resolve this problem, because we have a brisa this way, we have a brisa that way, the Gemara says Tanaihi. It's a machlekes Tanaim. That's going to help us with a machlekes with the proofs back and forth between Abaye and Rava. It seems like this one's right. It seems like that one's right. The way we resolve that is we say, well, we have a machlekes, and this brisa would go like him, and this brisa would go like him.
Amen.
The Tanya, starting in the brisa. Tzipon Zav. Someone coats his tefillin in gold. But he puts over it the skin of a non-kosher animal. The case of the tefillin is not made from the hide of a cow, it's made from the hide of a non-kosher animal. Psulis, the tefillin are puzzle. Why? Because it needs to be, the tefillin needs to be made from something that's edible, kosher edible, halachically edible. You can't eat the leather, but halachically. Or behema tahira, if it uses a kosher skin, it's kosher even though you didn't process that leather, you didn't tan the leather for the intention of tefillin. Now, there's two ways of learning this Gemara. Rashi learns this Gemara that what we just said is that the designating it for tefillin is insignificant. You don't need to designate it. Designating is nothing. It's kosher even without the even without preparing it for tefillin, which means hazmana lav milsa, which is a proof to Rav, which is the source of Rav. So the Tanakam, according to Rashi, is going to follow Rava because he's saying that you don't need to do it lishma, which means that hazmana, the preparing of it, the designation, is insignificant. It's very different than the way we were proving things beforehand.
But like that, it means every piece of hide is going to be designated, even if they cut it for something else.
You cut it for whatever you want. You're going to make for a shoe, and you're allowed to use it for tefillin. Yeah. According to Rashi, the way that this is a proof to Rava that designation is insignificant.
I understand.
You learned it from like Tosfos, but I don't want to explain Tosfos yet. Let me first finish that. The Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, "Af ar behema tahira sulis ad sheyavdu lishma." Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says no. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel is the father of Rebbe. He says that no. He says that it needs to be made lishma. Even if it's a kosher animal, it has to be done, which means that the designation of it is significant. Now we're associating here lishma with designation, with hazmana. That's the association according to Rashi. And since it needs to be designated, that means that designation is significant. That means that designation is powerful. That's Abaya's shita. So we have a machlekes Tanakama. Shimon ben Gamliel is a machlekes Rava and Abaya. Okay. Rabbeinu Tam in Tosfos says it exactly the opposite. Rabbeinu Tam says that Rava really holds.
This nice bulk back party for you.
I brought back this time some chocolate.
Unfortunately, he's allergic to chocolate.
Could you be quiet so we can finish?
Okay, so Rabbeinu Tam says that Rava that holds Hazmana Lav Milsa actually holds that it needs to be done lishma is really Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. Because the Hazmana itself is not enough, if I hold Hazmana Milsa, if I hold designation is significant, then you don't need lishma. You just have to designate it, and that's good enough. If you hold Hazmana Lav Milsa, then you need lishma. And that's Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. So he switches the whole, which we just said, the Gemara says Tanai, that it's machlekes Tanaim, and we designated Tanakama, it's going to be Rava. Shimon ben Gamliel, it's going to be Abaya. He does it the opposite. He does Reb Shimon ben Gamliel is Rava. Okay. Whatever the case is, we now have our answers to all of the questions that we had. That it's machlekes Tanaim. Amli Ravina l'Rava. Ravina says to Rava, he says, I don't understand what you're doing. You just had a machlekes with Abaya about designation over. Someone designates shrouds the tachrichem. Is it become usher even before it's used? Well, is there such a thing? Is there such a place where the person died and they don't, now they start weaving it and they just leave the corpse there and they're weaving it? You see, everyone agrees. This is like, it's a little cryptic here. Everyone agrees that if it started to be woven while he was alive, it's not considered designated. Nothing. It's only after he dies that when you weave it, it's considered designated. But so Ravina is telling Rava, your whole machlekes with Abaya is in a case that never comes out, because you never start weaving the shrouds. You size it, maybe you have the cloth already, but you start weaving it. Start weaving the cloth after he dies. They they bury like right away in Eretz Yisrael. I got to tell you this. The shul that I daven in Eretz Yisrael is Zechan Moshe. It's like a factory in Minyanim. You walk anytime, day, anything. It's amazing. Anyway, while I was there, there was a sign up. It's a Sei Tilim for Rabbi Aaron Fisher. It's the Rav of Zechan Moshe. Anyway, I come back at night and they say someone comes in, opens up the Pareches. The Rav passed away. And then you hear the cars coming around saying, but there's the Levaya would be how they announce in Yerushalayim, announcements. It's a car that drives around that announces. Anyway, I said, oh, you know what? I should go to Levaya. Anyway, I went that night to Zechon Moshe, by what the Levaya is going to be. Anyway, I see everyone walking the other direction. So I went with everyone. I figured I don't know like which shoulder Levaya over there. There's a guy screaming about Rishoyim and Apikosim and the draft and the thing. I said, this is so not tactful to use a Levaya for political things. Anyway, it was a little while I realized that I was not at the Levaya. I was at a Hafganah and they sprayed, a demonstration. They had sprayed, and I was just following the crowd. But the police spray this terrible smell, smells like sewage, to get everyone on. And I hear shouts and I was like, oh, okay. Maybe. It took me a while, but I realized. Anyway, okay. So Ravina tells Rava that you're arguing about something that never happens, because they always prepare the tachrichem before the person passes away. And everyone agrees that that's nothing. Did they ever do it where they prepare the tachrichem, they prepare the shrouds after they start weaving it afterwards? Amalayan, he says, yeah, there are places like that. You're going Shechvi, the Harpana. This is Shechvi sounds like the deceased. Rashi says Aniya. Oh, Shechvi, the deceased of Harpana. These people were very poor. And they didn't even start the collections of, to how to get the person buried until after he passed away. So that's when they would start preparing it. Okay. Darish Marimar taught Hilchasa Kavasei Dabai, Hilchasa Kabaya, which means, according to Marimar, Hasmana Milsa. Rabbanan Amri, the Rabbanan say Hilchasa Kavasei the Rava. The halach is like Rava. That's more common. The halach is like Rava, right? The halach is always like Rava, except in 6 places. The Hilchsa Kavasei the Rava, and the Gemara concludes that the halach is like Rava. Here we have a conclusion that Hasmana Lav Milsa. Hasmana Lav Milsa, yeah. What happens? Sometimes the Seifrim is Rameshan. Sometimes the Seifrim, they take pieces of cloth and they like the CM Sefer, they'll write your name on it or something. They'll do like a little show and all right. Now that cloth was prepared for something. When they prepared it, it didn't come out right. So they now it's a scrap. When they cut it, the things, they have scraps on the side. So according to Rava, it's nothing. Hasman alav milsa. The halacha would be, you can use it to write your name, whatever. It doesn't need to be kept in anything. You can use it for other things. That's what comes up. Okay, Tanarabanan. Daf Yomi is not halacha here. Starting a bright Sarugim Malchus Nechseim Lamelach. What happens if someone is killed by the government, by the king? What happens to the property? Who keeps the property? It says the king takes the property. Harugi Bezdin, someone that's killed by the court. Same liyarshim, his property goes to the inheritors. Okay. What happens today on death row? What happens to the person's property? Inheritors, I assume.
Probably
After the
inheritors.
guards and
Who?
after the guards church.
Okay. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer. Rabbi Yehuda says, "Afarugim Malchus Nesem Liyarshim." He says, no. Harugim Malchus also goes, even if he's killed by the government, not because of the Bezdin, he's killed because the king had him killed for whatever reason. The inheritors take the property. It doesn't go to the government. Amalei le Rabbi Yehuda. The sages said to Rabbi Yehuda, now they have machlekes over here, the sages and Rabbi Yehuda, regarding someone that was killed by the government. Who gets the property? Rabbi Yehuda says the inheritors, and the Tanakama, the sages say that it's the king.
But today they take the stuff before the person dies. Usually they confiscate everything and then they kill it.
Amalei Rabbi Yehuda v'le kvar nemar. What are you saying? They tell Rabbi Yehuda, "Ini bekerem navas yard sham l'rishtai." Elio Anavi has to tell Achav prophecy about what's going to happen to his family. And he's going to die, and all of his anyone from his family is going to die. The dogs are going to lick the blood, and the whole prophecy over there. Anyway, what happened was that there was a field that was right next to his palace that his wife wanted, Izebel wanted. Anyway, they trumped up these charges on against Navis, the Navis refused to say, how could I sell the property of my ancestors? It's not right for me to do that, to shame them, like to sell it just because you're offering me money. So they made these charges that he had cursed Hashem and he had cursed the king. They hired false witnesses, and then they have Navis killed and they take the property. And then Eliyahu Navi comes to tell him that because of what you did, you're gonna lose your life and all the terrible things.
He's got married without a wife.
Yeah. What did we learn about Isabel? We had
She
something.
killed all the prophets. And ultimately it wasn't like she
We learned something about her dancing. Remember her dancing? She would dance with her hands.
well, ultimately like only her temple.
Yeah.
Not
There's something else that we learned about it.
actually sound confused to think comments.
We learned that she set up Achav.
Last for one
We learned that
class.
Achav was very cold and didn't have a desire for her, and she set up like these mannequins or something to. Okay. Anyway, it says over here, that you're gonna go prophesy to Achav. He happens to be, he's in the vineyard of Navis that he went to inherit. He took the property. He took the property. He was killed by the king and he takes the property. See? Killed by the king takes the property. Amalahan. So Rabbi Yehuda tells him back, no, you're missing a major detail of the story. He was his cousin. So he inherited it because he died. So he was the closest relative and he inherited it. You hear what's going on over here? It's Varay Liyarsha, and he was able to inherit. The Gemara says, what are you talking about? Well, not the Gemara. This is the sages telling Rabbi Yehuda back. Navis had many sons. Achav wouldn't, being a cousin, would not be the closest relative. He killed his sons also. It says, if I have not seen the blood of Navis and the blood of his sons, that means he must have killed
Must have been some vineyard.
Baron Herzog. So Rabbana. Okay, so you see, the blood of his sons. What did the Rabbanan do about the blood of the sons? They said that the sons would have inherited. Those were the potential sons. Not that he killed them. Because he killed Navis, now Navis doesn't have those children.
That's kind of a very weird. Although
his
we've had it
offspring.
in other places that all the generations to come would have come from that person. I don't remember.
Right.
It's just, you don't just kill the person, you've killed all his future generations. When you say all the
Right.
future, we've had that. Just unusual.
Okay, let's take a look at this. Now the Gemara says, "Bishlam l'man damar nechseim l'melech." According to the first opinion, according to the Tanakama that say that the king inherits. I know the Tziv Berach Nava Baruch Nava. I don't know the pronunciation. Berach Nava Selakim Melech says that that's a euphemistic way of saying that he cursed. It says he blessed, but it means he cursed. That Navis, what were the charges against him? That he cursed God and the king. Why do we have to add in that he cursed the king? Cursed God is already a death penalty. But
He added in curse.
So he added in cursed the king to show that he was a rebel. And he was not being killed by the Sanhedrin. He was being killed by the king for sins against the king. And that's why he wants to get if the king takes the property, so the charges against him were that he was against the king, and the king confiscates the property.
Wait, excuse me. I thought he added in the curse God, so that would rile up the people.
One second. You know the Gemara already. The Malach forgot to hit you.
Yeah.
I didn't know you'd come back to that.
But according to the other opinion that says that he doesn't get it anyway, even if he's killed by the king, why do you have to throw in extra charges on him? If cursing Hashem is enough to get him killed, why do you have to throw in that he will also curse the king? The Gemara says back, and according to your reasoning, that the whole reason why you said the Melech is because he wanted to get him killed because he cursed the king and then he's going to take the property. Why does he have to say curse God? Just kill him because he's a rebel. Rather, he wanted to increase their anger. Whose anger? It means the judges, probably, no? That they shouldn't have any compassion on him.
But it wasn't the judges that, it doesn't say that he was killed by the Sanhedrin. It says he was killed by the king. Because that would be two different things. Killed by Sanhedrin, then the stuff goes to the Yorshim. Killed by the king, he would have not.
Yeah.
I think it's just the people.
Okay.
The judges were probably bought out too, right? I mean,
Right.
like a real judges wouldn't have condemned them.
Yeah, but it gets complicated because when you have witnesses, that are testifying,
What's good?
Anyway,
People.
The people. It's to make the people angry. In other words, the people should not protest against Achav for having him killed. He was really a bad guy.
But
You offering to everybody?
there's
I
also
did.
a thing. Isn't there a thing that like if they go against Hashem, they don't look for any merits to save the person?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. So that's why they went. That's why they threw that in to make the people angry that Achav was not a bad guy and getting him killed. So Achinami, if that's the case, the fact that he cursed the king is also saying that he's a bad guy, and the people should accept the fact that Achav had him killed.
He needed both.
And so both. You can't bring a proof from adding in one of the charges against him. Okay. If someone that's killed by the king, then we're going to another example. It is good. Yeah. According to the one that says that the property goes to the king, who, by the way, who was that? That was the Tanakama. What happened was after David HaMelech passed away, or before he passed away, he instructed Shlomo to take care of a few people that were left around, that David didn't get rid of them. So one of them was Yoav. He had killed two great people, and so Yoav runs to the Mizbeach, and he holds on to the corners. Now, what's he doing over there? Ksiv, and it's written, Vayomer lo yetze ki payamas. I'm not leaving here, I'm gonna die. What does he want to say? He wants to say that I want to be killed here in the Beis Hamikdash by the Sanhedrin. Because if I'm killed by the Sanhedrin, and my property goes to my inheritors. If I'm killed by the king, then the property goes to the king. So that's what we understand why he's holding on to the Mizbeach. But if the property, even if he's killed by the king, the property goes to the inheritors, what's the difference how he gets killed? It goes to the inheritors anyway. My answer is he was just temporarily holding on for his dear life. So because he didn't want to die right away, so he's holding on. That's what he was holding on, not because of the whole property thing. But Yoshev ben Yo as the Melech Davar Leimar, Koidiber Yoyev Kayanani. Benio, who was the agent and the general of Shlomo Melech, goes back to Shlomo and he says, "So says Yoav," and this is what I answered him. Now it doesn't say what really the conversation was, but Amalei, what happened was that Yoav had told to Benio, "Zil Amalei, go tell Shlomo, Tarti le'tavet b'hai gavra. You shouldn't do two crimes against this person," which is referring to himself, to Yoav. If you kill me, if you kill him, he's talking about himself in third person. Then you have to accept the curse that your father put on me. And basically, David had cursed Yoav instead of killing him. But now that he's getting killed, he's saying that, so now the curse, if you're going to kill me, now you take the curse.
He gets killed.
I'm not sure. But he's saying that why should I get both? Just because he didn't want to kill me, so he cursed me, and now you're killing me. So if you lie, and if you don't want to take the curse, so shavke, so leave me be. The let me just get the curse that your father cursed me. Interesting claim. And the king says to Benio, do as we spoke, which means he should get killed, and he struck him and they buried him. Well, that means that Shlomo had accepted the curse. Rav Yehuda Marav. Rav Yehuda says, yeah, it's good. Rav Yehuda says, Nimrav, Kol Kolos killed David as Yoav, Niskaim Bazar Shel David. All the curses that Yoav had cursed, all the curses that David had cursed Yoav were actually fulfilled in later generations of David. There's a discussion at the table here about karma. If it's karma, there's no such thing as karma between Dr. Stein and Yitzhak.
This is on the right side of that.
Okay.
But why would Shlomo accept the curse? Like, what's in it for him?
Oh, I guess Shlomo just wanted to fulfill the instructions of his father. So whatever conditions he had to accept, he was willing to do that to fulfill his father's dying wish.
That the curse was that he was going to have like two sons, and then they were going to die by the sword. So if he killed him, he was never going to have those kids, and those kids were never going to die by the sword.
So let's take a look. We'll have this. It says the curse was Al Yikaris mi beis Yoav. It won't cease from the house of Yoav a zav. That's an illness. That's a type of impurity. Umetzaira, and a leper. That's another type of illness, leprosy. Machzik bepelach, someone that needs a cane. B'neifel becherev, someone that will fall by the sword. B'chasalechem, and lacking bread. The big curses that were given to Yoav, and all of them are fulfilled in later on in David's children. Zav, who was the Zav? Merechavim. What happened was when Rechavim takes over, he gets the advice from his young friends that tell him that you have to be very strict on the people, treat them even harder than Shlomo did, show them who's boss. The people rebelled and started like a civil war. So anyway, Rechavim runs away and he strengthens himself to go up to Yerushalayim. And there's another pasuk when it says he went in a chariot to Yerushalayim. And all the chariots of Yitma. So we're looking at the word Merkav, we're looking at the word Merkava, and we're saying that the same reference to Merkav that's said by a Zav, that anything that he sits on becomes impure. Rechavim was also a Zav. Maybe that's why he wasn't able to run or something. I'm not sure exactly. Okay. The other side effects of gonorrhea. Of this gonorrhea.
It's too different. So it's
I know, but other side effects besides for just the emission that you have.
for the guy.
Yeah. Okay. The next thing is Mitzayra. Mi'uzio, Tixiva b'cheskasei gava libead lahashchis vayimal ba'Hashem alakav v'yavei al heichal Hashem lahaktel mizbeach hakteris.
Yeah, you could get because it's an infection, could have an infective arthritis. from that.
So maybe that's like he is attempting to run away, associating that like maybe he can't run. Anyway, it says by Uzio, it says that he became very arrogant, and he rebels against Hashem, and he comes into the Heichal, and he starts to offer Ketores. He tries to offer Ketores, even though he's not a Kohen. He just feels like he's Uksiv, and it says Vatzaras Zorcha b'Mitzchay. That Tzaras was on his forehead. Okay, so he's a Mitzayra. Machzik b'Pelach, who's the one that needed a cane? Me Asa, King Asa, supposed to be a very good king. Ksiv Rak Leisik Nasi Chalal Raglav. We had from about Asa before that he drafted the Torah sages. Remember that? And because the Torah sages were the feet of the support of the people, so that's why he when he got older, so he lost his his feet were ailing. Pudgara. Podagra.
We still use that term.
What's podagra?
It's when
Gout.
person with gout has an inflamed first big toe joint.
Oh,
So
big
that
toe.
was the most common joint.
Uh-huh.
In classic pictures, they show the rich fat man with his leg up and a swollen big toe.
Uh-huh.
Is that what they got?
They used to think it was just from heat. Turns out it's probably with purines and things.
So this is gout. He had gout.
Yeah.
Amalei Marzucha Breder of Nachman or of Nachman. Marzucha, the son of Rav Nachman, asks his father of Nachman, "Hey Chidami, what is this type of disease?" Amalei Kamachat b'Basar Chai. It's like a needle in raw flesh. No yada. How does Rav Nachman know this? Possible that he had it. It's possible that his teacher told it to him. Doesn't mean this teacher had it. It means he heard it from back all the way back to that if you learn Torah, everything's in the Torah. In his covenant to make known, everything's in the Torah. The secrets Hashem reveals to those that fear Him. Neifel B'cherev, who's the one that remember that this same machlekes we had in Saito, but how does Ben Zayma, who was the one that married that was never married? Ben Azai.
But it was a
How does he know about
he
the
got married and
right?
divorced.
Right, according to the other opinion, how does he know that? So we had these three statements that he heard it from his teacher. He heard it as knows. Okay, Neifel B'cherev, who fell by the sword? Yeshua, the Ksiva Yera Amar and the Melech Yeshua. This is when Yeshua doesn't allow the king of Egypt. What is it?
Like wedges himself.
I thought they went to battle against Para and Nechei.
Got to
Pass?
pass and like wedged himself in. They shot like
No, that was Yehuda ben Bava. Yeah. This was they went to battle, and I forget if they knew they were shooting the king but he got hit. Danielle, do you remember what happened up here? He's going to battle in Megiddo. The term Armageddon comes from this battle. Megiddo was like a disaster, Megiddo was the place. Anyway, Yoshio gets hit. He got hit so many times his body became like a sieve. That expression was used by Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava when he was giving smicha in the past. Who's missing the bread? Yechanya was one of the last king. Yechanya was the second to the last, the third to the last king. The Ksiv, after Nebuchadnezzar that had exiled Yechanya passed away, so his son Avil Meradach it was not as bad. Nebuchadnezzar took Yechaniah out of prison and he would feed him every day. So from that, said that he was dependent on him for bread. That's the good descendant of David that was lacking bread. Now it could be he was lacking bread by Nebuchadnezzar. It could be that he was lacking bread by Avil Meradach, who's the son of Avil. Doesn't mean evil. Avil, I think means kind or something. I don't know.
Mashiach is also Metzor from Beis Daf.
Yeah. So what do you want to say?
Maybe that's
the descendant.
yeah. Maybe that's why Shlomo accepted it.
Wow.
Whoa.
Interesting.
What did Daniel say?
Mashiach is a Messiah.
Oh, so he saw in the future. He knew.
That's
but he
Princeton,
wanted-
baby. That's Princeton Tigers.
Yeah.
Ivy League
I heard
school.
Rabbi Ginsburg say once that Saras comes from Lashon Hara. So what Saras does? What Lashon Hara does Mashiach say? Mashiach is a Messiah. He says, but Mashiach feels that Mashiach is already here by him. Mashiach, he's living in that. So he looks around. He says, by me, I'm already there. But it must be, the problem must be from all of you, from someone else. So that's the Lashon Hara of Mashiach. Anyway, I'm Rav Yehuda Marav.
You could see something in someone else unless you were.
It's another question.
Mashiach has special power.
Rav Yehuda says, this is what people say, it's better to be cursed than to be the one that's cursing. Because all the things that David cursed ended up coming back to him. Don't curse. The boomerang comes back.
Put it down.
Karma.
Put it down. Ain't no such thing.
Asil Yoav. They bring Yoav Daine and they judged him. Amalei. He tells Yoav, my time of Katalti Avner, why did you kill Avner? Now, Avner was a general of Shaul. And after Shaul died, he was together with Shaul's son. What was his name? Ishbaisha. Ishbaisha? Mephibosheth or Ishbaisha? Ishbaisha. Was this young boy. Now, but then he comes to make peace with David. After he makes peace, and when he's leaving, so Yoav goes and kills him. So they tell Yoav, they say, why did you kill Avner? You're guilty. Amalei Goyal Adam Dasal Havai. But Avner had killed my brother. So I'm the closest relative. And the Goyal Adam, the close relative, the relative is able to go and kill the halachas of this are not so clear. I thought that was by the one that killed B'Shegig or whatever. It's complicated. But anyway, he says he's the Goyal Adam of Asol. Says Asol Reidify, but he killed him because Asol was chasing after him. And he even warned him. He said, please, turn around because I'm going to hurt you. And Asol didn't stop. So Asol was a Reidif. He was allowed to kill him. So it wasn't Avner that was guilty. It was Asol that was guilty. Amalei, he didn't have to kill him. Avner could have stopped him by harming him, right? Shoot him in the legs or something, right? So he can't chase. Amalei, I'm not. This is Avner. It's not talking. It's on Avner's behalf, saying he's not able to do that. He can't just, you have to get him in a way that he's not going to harm you and that he's just going to be injured. That's complicated. Amalei, what do you mean? He was such a good shooter. He threw a spear, I guess, that he hit him in the fifth rib. The spear hit him in the fifth rib. Hit him exactly in the spot where the gall and the liver are hanging. They knew exactly where to get him. And you can't get him in the legs or something that he won't be able to chase him. Okay, so Amalei, Nesel Avner, you have a point. We're not gonna catch you on Avner's thing. To catch you on taxes. Okay, so next, my time Talti la Amasa. So why did you kill Amasa? Amasa was another general of David. Amalei, Amasa married b'malchus. Amasa was he rebelled against the king. The Ksiva Yemer Melech Amasa Haziklius issued Shleish Yamim. Who was it that there was a rebellion against David by another person, Sheva ben Bichri. He was he decided to take the kingdom. And David didn't have it easy, and there were other people that tried to take the kingdom from become king. So the king David sends Amasa to go and wage war against him, to kill them, this rebellion. It says Hazikli es issued the Shleishis Yamim. Go and it was the area of Yehuda. It said they had more people than David even. It said go and scream out because it means make a battle against him for 3 days. But he delayed it. So because he delayed the king's instructions, so he was a married b'malchus. He was rebelling against the kingdom. He was deserving death. But Amasa had a right to delay it because he understood something from the Torah that said that he wasn't supposed to follow those instructions. Ashkechina, the pasuk of Masechti, who came to the town that he was supposed to wage battle against, and he heard them learning. They were doing the daf. They opened the Gemara. They were learning a Masechta. Amar ksiv kolish yamres pichla v'leishamas tebechel chalosh yumas. They told Yeshua when he was taking over. He said they were going to follow you. Anyone that disobeys you is going to be put to death. That's the source, that anyone who disobeys the king is put to death. Yachal afil divrei Torah, even if he's following the Torah, even if they're doing it for Torah. Talmud Laimar rak chazak mematz. Just be strong, and it says rak chazak mematz. Only, and the only is coming to exclude that, not if they're keeping the Torah. Well, Ella who gavra. So it turns out. So 1 second. Turns out based on this that Amasa was correct. So Yoav is guilty. And Ella, I don't know why there's an Ella here, but it should be like Void. And also, who gavra married b'malchus haba. Yoav itself here rebelled against the king. Ashma bad Yoav kiev natachre Adoniyav achrev shalom leinata. Yoav followed Adoniyav, which was one of the sons that was going to take over instead of Shlomo. And David was still alive. My leinata. What does it mean that he followed Adoniyav and not Avshalom? Amar Rav Yehuda Shebikesh Lintis leinata. He actually wanted to follow Avshalom, but he didn't. My time leinata. Why didn't he? Amar Rabbi Lazar Adayin lachut shel David kayames, because David still had a little strength left, still had a little moisture in his body. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina Amar Adayin Istagnine shel David kayamen. Istagnine usually means astrologers, but here it doesn't mean that. It's what they have in Rome, like the king's army. It was the Praetorian Guard, right? Praetorian Guard, was that the thing? This is like his guard, the king's guard. You know, the personal guard. They controlled the country. They controlled everything, right?
Here they say his children that were all from.
So 1 second. Damar Rav Yehuda Rav Yehuda said the name of Rav. Abba Amayas Yiladim Hayalei David Kulam Bnei Yafas Tayar Hayam Gadli Blair Say Malcham Breshi Guys saying Veim Bali Greifim Shal David. Rav Yehuda said the name of Rav that David had 400 children from sons from Yafas Tayar. All the children of Yafas Tayar. That means that he found beautiful women in battle. They all grew their hair like ponytails in the back, and they went at the front of the army. And these were the strong people of David. So that's why he didn't want to go with Avshalom. Now this disagrees with the statement of Rabbi Bar Kana. If not for David, Yoav wouldn't have been successful in battle. And if not for Yoav, David wouldn't have been able to study. It says that David did justice and righteousness for all his nation. Yoav ben Tzviya was on the army. What's the association? David was righteous and Yoav was on the army. Why was David able to do this? Because he had everything delegated. That Yoav took care of the army. What's the reason that Yoav was on the army? Because David was able to study Torah and to do all the righteousness and to judge and all the other things.
Very similar to Yisachar.
Right. Yeah. So here we're saying that this is different than what we were saying before. That it was David that was supporting Yoav. Here we're saying that David is supporting Before we were saying sort of like they were antagonistic. Vayetze Yoav mi'im David vayishlach malachim achrei Avner v'yeshivos in Bersir. Now Yoav finds out that Avner was there. Yoav, that Avner had just made peace with David. And Yoav sends a message to Avner to bring him back from the place called Bar Hasira. My Bar Hasira, what's the meaning, significance of this place called Bar Hasira? Amar Baba Barkana, Bar, Rabbi Barkana says Bar, Vesira Garmalel Avner Shihari. The fact is that Avner was killed by Yoav. David was very against that. But the fact is that Avner also had some sin that caused this to happen. Now, the sin is the pit, and also a sira, which means a thorn. And that's why he's brought back from that place. The pit was that when one time, when Shaul was asleep, David snuck into the camp and stole his water jug and something, a spear. And afterwards, when they started to walk, David calls from across the mountains, across the valley, he yells out. He says, "You're a man of Shaul, Avner. You didn't do a good job. You didn't protect Shaul. Look I have his water bottle and this. I took it." So Avner could have told Shaul. He could have said that David's such a tzaddik. Instead, he said, "Probably you forgot it. One of the people left it, and you got it. Don't be impressed with David's righteousness." The other thing is that if David's men were in a cave, and Shaul came in to use the bathroom, it must have been dark. Couldn't see what in there. And David had cut off the corner of Shaul's garment. And afterwards, when he left, he shows him this. Now, Avner could have said, "See what a tzaddik, David." He doesn't say that. He says, "Oh, it was probably a thorn. Probably got caught off by a thorn. It wasn't David. Don't be so impressed." So, because of those two comments, that's why Avner ends up getting killed. And Yoav leans into the gate to speak with him, Besheli, maybe in secret. Rabbi Yochanan, what does it mean? Shedanu din Sanhedrin. Teichashar means the gate. That means that he brought him to the gate, to the Sanhedrin. Amalei, he tells him, why did you kill Asal? We're having the same conversation again. Why did you kill my brother? Asal Raidafai, he said he was chasing me. You're allowed to kill someone that's chasing someone else to kill him. But you should have stopped him. You're not allowed to kill him if you can stop him. I wasn't able to. What do you mean? You're such a sharpshooter. You got him straight in that spot, the fifth rib. You couldn't have gotten his legs. What does it mean? Ladabri to Besheli would speak with him in secret. This is. He tells him. Rashi explains. He asked him a question. Halacha. What do you do if a yavama doesn't have hands and she has to take off his shoe? How's she going to take? So Avner bends down to show how to remove the shoe with the teeth. As he's bending down, he hits him in the fifth rib again. This is Yoav getting Avner in the fifth rib. What happened was he gave him when he bent down, he pulled him into the sword, which was facing the wrong direction. Hashem should return his blood on his head because he struck two people that were greater than him. Tovim, why they Tovim? Because well, at least Amasa darshan achvarak to say that you have to follow the Torah. Vulay darash and tzadikim shehem bepeh. They were instructed directly. Amasa was instructed directly when they didn't follow it because they followed the Torah. Vahu, even with a letter. David sent a letter to Yoav that he should kill Uriah, should send him to the front lines, and Yoav did follow. And the other one is that.
But I just want to interject. So the reason they use the word Shelley because it's like shal na'lechem yaweh.
Shal. Shelley means shal, to remove. Yeah. Okay, it says now. Amasa wasn't cautious with the sword that was in Yoav's hand. He saw it, but he didn't suspect it. But he covered Bebesa B'Midbar. Now Yoav was buried in his house in the desert. At the base of Midbar, is his house in the desert? How was the house in the desert? Amarav Yuda, Amarav, he says the name Amarav Kemidbar. It was like the desert. Just like his house is open, just like the desert is open. Yoav had an open house. Another pshat committed by just like the desert. There's no stealing in the desert. There's nothing there to steal. There's no one there. And there's no arayas because there's no one there. There's no promiscuity. There's no one there to promiscuous. Yes, he says
Family
this
share, family
the
share.
desert isn't Las Vegas, obviously. Yoav Menuka Migezel Varayas. Yoav was also a tzaddik, even though we've just criticized Yoav here, but Yoav was a tzaddik. Yoav Yechaya is Shari'ir. Yoav supported the rest of the city. Rav Yehuda says, I feel munine b'tzachanta, even these delicacies like these small fish, which usually you don't give the poor the caviar and champagne. You give them whatever the rice and beans. Not Yoav. Even these small fish, these delicacies, time Parislu, he gave it to the poor. Okay, everyone.
We got into this whole story